these shitbag bureaucrats who occupy these stupid superintendent positions and shit, well, they go right out the window. Because when you just run a school to teach kids, you don't need those fuckers. It's when you need to start implementing political agendas and shit that you need all of this army of do-nothing bureaucrats forcing shit down everybody's throat. Mm-hmm. When you got a teacher in a classroom who just wants to teach kids, and then bureaucrat asshole barges through the door and says, well, you gotta... Oh, God, I could come up with some really, really bad examples.
I want to hear it.
Well, I don't know. Why don't we, teach kids about how many mommies and daddies everybody has and all that shit?
Oh.
It's like, yeah, you know what? Catholic Church was really hideous for hiding their lecherous fucks, but at least they weren't bringing kids into the church and saying, it's great to be touched.
Yeah.
That's what the fucking public schools do now. It's like, oh, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina, and it's the sooner you can get them mashed together, the better. And that's all they give. That's all they care about. And then do you think that the public funding of the abortion mills is some kind of an accident? No, let's get a bunch of fucking kids. Half of them can't read, write, or do math. Sexualize them, rush them into every freaking possible thing you could get them into. And then be there with your freaking publicly funded abortion mill to take care of the fucking inevitable problems that you created. It's almost like they plan it that way.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks for coming back here with me.
Cheers.
As always, the powerful Professor Phil, ladies and gentlemen. It's a much more aesthetically pleasing room for us to sit in and for your eyes to look at.
Hopefully sounding even better.
But you know what's not sounding too great right now? The way this country's being ran.
Good point.
Happy Impeachment Day, right? That's the latest hashtag social media craze.
Well, I can relay a couple points of information.
Well, let's hear them. I would love to, if you don't mind.
Apparently, yesterday, the actual Senate trial proceedings started. And I don't know if they were voting on rules to go forward or what exactly they were doing. ABC stopped carrying it at like 3 p.m.
Well, I was curious.
Nobody's watching it. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Well, I've seen shit.
So sad.
When I'm at the gym, I'll kind of like be paying attention to it because it's on the TV. I'll be on the elliptical and it's going. But I swear, like for the past like 3-4 days, it's been Donald Trump's final impeachment hearing. Like the past 3 days, it's been the final one. Like on he's on his last trial. Like this, I'm like, wait a second. I thought fucking yesterday was the last one. How long are they gonna drag this shit out for?
Well, what's incredible is that it's. I got this from Timmy Pool. You know, he during the House
favorite person
during the House impeachment, like actually issuing the impeachment to start the Senate trial. The House Democrats wouldn't allow the Republicans to call a witness because they're scared to death that Hunter Biden will have to, get on the stand and perjure himself or whatever.
Hunter who?
Hunter Biden.
Who's that? Oh.
That's Joe Biden's son.
Oh, okay. He's a Republican.
Oh, good Lord, dude.
I don't pay attention. I don't pay attention to this shit, dude.
No.
Like,
do you know who Joe Biden is?
I know who Joe Biden is. Do you want to know why? Because Facebook loves making memes out of him. They made Joe Biden made him like Obama's just like...
Yeah, he was Obama's vice president.
Bromance. But no, in the memes, he's like, they have a huge bromance for like Biden and Obama together.
Oh, well, Biden definitely does. Obama couldn't give a shit. He doesn't give a shit about Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Crazy. But, so Joe Biden, while he's vice president, his son gets put on the board of this natural gas company in the Ukraine and gets paid exorbitant amounts of money for who knows why, because he doesn't know anything about the industry, right?
Yeah. But he's Joe Biden's kid, though.
And there were... investigations and rumors and whatever going on over in Ukraine. And you've got Joe Biden on camera bragging about leveraging military aid to the Ukraine to get their leadership to fire the prosecutor that was looking into, I believe he was looking into some kind of corruption with the company that Hunter Biden works for.
Oh.
And so it's so bizarre. It's like, on the one hand, you actually have the guy who's guilty of corruption bragging about it on camera, and then you have Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald Trump is the one that they are convinced is this terrible person. And they
got someone doing just as hideous shit over there.
Their leader in the polls for the nomination is a guy is the actual corrupt guy. It's just amazing to watch.
Right. But Biden doesn't. I think the thing about Joe Biden is, though, he seems like a good people person. Like, people like him a lot.
Oh,
you know what I mean? People really just like that. He has one of those personalities that's pretty attractive to the American population.
When you're being spoon-fed the superficial bullshit about him, go and find the little video montages of him feeling up little girls every time there's a photo op in the White House. He's a creepy, weird old dude.
Wait, hold on. So there's videos of him like groping little chicks?
Oh, dude, it's a well-known thing.
Really?
Oh yeah. Okay. Everybody knows that he's
I didn't know that.
He's a little girl touching weirdo.
But see, I don't bother watching videos of any of these fuckers. It's not interesting to me. I'm starting to get a little more interested on it. I just like talking to you about it because you come in here and you talk shit about all of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, just amazing to me.
It's entertaining for me. When I pull up their videos, they're fucking boring. I don't know. To me, nothing changes.
I'm looking at it. Let's just take the Joe Biden touching little girls thing, right? You come out of several decades of just diehard campaigning against even the word Catholic because of what the leadership of the Catholic Church did with these weirdo pedos, going after their altar boys and all of that weird shit. And then you have a guy who is, he's near the head of their secular religion, and he does the same kind of disturbing shit, but they love him.
Yeah.
It defies reasoning that you can have people who do the exact same freaking types of things, but depending on which political banners they carry determines which people like or hate them.
Well, see, that's why I've never really paid attention to politics. I know they're all the same. They all give you the same sorry-ass line of shit every 4 years. And reality, of most part, nothing really ever changes. In my 28 years of living, there hasn't been one president that significantly changed my way of living.
No, because your way of living is to accept the dictates and pound sand. What are you going to do? Vote?
Yeah.
It never makes any difference.
Mm-hmm.
Because the existing structure is never actually modified. It's a majority of the population is below average intelligence, voting for people who make false promises in order to abuse you and commit what would normally be crime, but is not, it's not.
I wonder
it's
how
not accepted as crime because it's a different word.
Have you ever felt like a president let you down that you voted for? Like, did you ever buy into like these false promises that all these politicians made, and you go, hey, here's someone who's doing something good, and like you believed him, and then you vote for him, and then they don't follow through with anything that they said. Have you ever been, let down and lied to by any politicians in your life?
Well, the turning point for me, like coming of age and like really starting to understand at least like the superficial presentations of these people, like the policy points and stuff like that. When you come of age and you start to take that stuff in, almost immediately what happens is you get, it's like, it's basically like sorting gumballs into different colors. There's just this barrage of shit coming in from all of these people who supposedly know better than you about everything. There's never any discussion or any real questioning. It's just it's like getting theorems in math. They're just written on the board, memorize them, don't do anything different.
Okay.
And so what you end up doing is you end up taxes. Well, Tax increases or tax cuts? That is the entire universe if you don't critically think. It's only tax increases or tax cuts. And then for each one of those, there's two sides. And then for each of those things, there's some detail somewhere that people have to be split over. So all it is a cascading of pitting people against each other through all of this arbitrary power exercise. How in the world do you even maintain the concept of a federal minimum wage when you can just look at the cost of living index in one area versus another? They're different worlds. Living in San Francisco or living in Des Moines, Iowa, $15 minimum, $15 an hour minimum wage. It's a completely different thing in those two places.
What's the minimum wage in Iowa? Isn't there a national?
There is no the minimum wage is different everywhere now.
Okay, all the states get to pick that shit.
The federal minimum wage, I believe, is still $7.25.
Okay, Jesus Christ. Could you imagine making that an hour somewhere though? Trying to survive?
Yeah.
You could do it.
There's people doing it.
40 hours. Let's see. What's I can put the calculator up on here. I'm gonna see what's 40 hours a week. So you work 40 hours a week times $7.25.
That's like $290.
So that's $290 a week. But really, after taxes, what's that? Like $220, $250?
The only tax that you're actually going to be responsible for if you're a single person earning minimum wage and only working 40 hours a week is Social Security, Medicare. All of your federal and state withholding won't come back to you when you file your taxes.
$290 a week. I feel like, you could survive off that. The thing is, you just have to buy things that you need and not things that you want.
Exactly.
That's the main thing, though, with that. And not live in some super luxurious place where rent's super high. Oh, dude. Well, okay.
That's one of the
maybe
big problems.
Not, dude. It depends how much rent is where you're living. Because if your rent's $600 a month, dude, now I'm questioning things. Because then you still got to find a way to travel to work. You got to pay for food and water. If you have a cell phone, you got to pay for that. $290 a week sounds pretty fucking tight, actually.
Yeah.
Depending on the area that you live.
Yeah. But the only way that, earning income at a particular rate can be successful is if your ends fit within that structure. Like somebody with, $1,000 a month rent isn't going to fit in that structure. So you are not going to have a place that's $1,000 a month rent. It's like, this gets to the core of people's fundamental misunderstanding of how anything works. They go out into the world and they see these people bitching about the 1% and poverty and the minimum wage and this and that, healthcare, blah. They don't understand how things are, how prices are arrived at. So the practice of, well, if this is my wage, okay, and now let's see how many numbers we can fit into that number. Well, that's not how anything actually works.
Okay.
Like, at least, when you're trying to, earn a margin on a business, you have to determine everything that you are, that you're going to do based on the price that people will pay. I mean, you can spend $1,000 making a chair, but if nobody's willing to buy it for more than that, all you've done is piss away $1,000.
Yeah, then you're fucked.
So the price paid for something cannot possibly be determined by the costs of the inputs. That's government think. That's why they're able to put equations on paper and say, ta-da, there's more stuff than we started with.
I liked what you said.
By magic.
The price of what you paid for things cannot be determined by the cost of input.
That's right.
Okay.
And that's a fundamental characteristic flaw
but why
of
not
something like labor theory of value.
Yeah. Why not, though? Because from a business standpoint, there's business people that are going to listen to that and they'll be like, this guy's a fucking idiot. If it costs me $500 to make, I'm charging $800.
No, what's determined by the prices of the components or the inputs is whether or not you gain or lose.
Gain fun.
Like I said, you spend $1,000 making a chair no one's willing to buy. You've lost $1,000. The price that somebody's going to pay is not determined by what you spent on the inputs. It's just not. It never will be. Why do you think the housing crashes are so, why does that shock everybody so badly?
I don't know.
Because they don't understand how it works, and the housing crashes are illustrations of the principle. You can go to California and tell people that their property is going to appreciate to infinity, but we know that's not true. Just because some boob paid $1 million for the house 5 years ago doesn't mean anybody's going to pay $1 million today.
Right.
Because the price that is paid is never determined by the cost of the input.
True.
It's not real.
I suppose that's why it's always fluctuating, huh? It's going up, it's going down.
Well, the easiest way to look at it is the stock market. Do you know what the stock market actually is?
What?
It's not a bunch of prices.
It's a bunch of math.
It's a bunch of bids. It's a bunch of offers to buy and offers to sell. And prices paid move all around the bids and asks that are out there right now.
Okay.
There is no price of a security. So like when they say, oh, well, Google's at $800 a share. Basically what that is that's the number that lies in between the lowest bid and the highest ask, or the other way around.
So they find like
exactly.
the median basically of it. It's the median of bids, and
it's the center of either activity that's occurring or the potential for activity to occur.
I'm surprised you never got into stocks. I feel like you'd be really good at them.
I would never deal with stock.
Yeah, but I feel like you'd be good at it though. I think so. A guy like you who's really, you're smart at math, you're accounting for 10 years, you have like the resume to be really good at stocks.
Well,
maybe the potential, I should say.
Foreign currency exchange. I went and took a course in that.
Okay.
So I'm actually, and the funny thing is I have some money in an account with one of the trade platforms, and I never exercised any. I never did any transactions.
Yeah, I've always
just sitting there.
I've always been curious about foreign exchange. Was our dollar is just so significantly higher in some of these fucking third world countries?
It's astronomical.
Yeah,
how this shit is set up.
Well, there's like there's some places it seems like you could go. You can bring $100 to, and you could live the fucking high life over there for a little bit. How does that make any sense?
It's
weird. It's weird how how I can my $100 in America can get me groceries for the week if I shop smartly, and if I go somewhere else, I can eat at all the fucking 5-star restaurants for the rest of the month.
Yeah. Well, the global structure that we have right now, all of this pyramiding of debt and counterfeiting on top of the dollar, which itself is, counterfeited and manipulated constantly.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that you can say about like an observable price difference from one place to another is that generally, that's not true of every single item out there, but in general, if if say you're sitting in a convenience store in the United States and a loaf of bread is $3, and then the equivalent over in some poorer country over in, Southeast Asia, it's 25 cents. Well, the only reason that the price is different is because here we're closer to the origin point of the fake money. See, the fake money.
So it's easier to get fake money here than it is getting it over in China.
Why do you think public schools piss away so much money and get shit results? It's because they are some of the primary first receivers of fake money on a regular basis. And since they get it year over year over year over year, built-in union step and ladder contracts, just the authority to tax the shit out of everything in sight, it's because they don't actually have to produce anything.
Do they have to say what they're going to do with that money when they get it from the government?
They always have a budget. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, fancy. A school board budget. Oh.
I feel like they waste more money just on decor and like making their school look really nice to get kids to go there.
Well, I could tell you one thing.
Than they do on just like actually trying to like on curriculums or like maybe like better quality teachers or whatever, anything that they can do to actually produce a better outcome for the students, you know?
A little Catholic elementary school had a principal, a secretary, a head janitor, maybe another guy that got called in, and a bunch of teachers. That was it.
That's all you need, right? I think
Yeah.
like that's all you need to
Now,
teach someone.
a public elementary school has got an entire army of worthless shitheads with all of these advisory and support roles and fucking A, and we got English as second language and mentally disabled, and we're trying to shove them all through the same freaking square hole. It doesn't work. It can't possibly work. The setup in the public schools is guaranteed failure. I mean, just start with the way that they're all compensated through the threat of force. That nothing that's ever done that way can work.
Threat of force, you mean like put on the teachers or put on the students?
Put on the taxpayers. The freaking teachers don't face any threats. Are you kidding me?
Okay, well that's all I was
They're
wondering.
sitting there
what you were talking
sucking on the
about.
teat and telling kids to fucking buzz off for decades at a time. And then
Not every teacher's doing that.
They retire early on a freaking public pension that they didn't even contribute to.
Yeah, not every
Fucking
teacher's
bullshit.
doing that though, dude.
Oh, fucking A, dude. If the best state in the country is 50% successful at 8th grade reading and writing proficiency, that means that the best state in the country does half a job with its army of fucking
And is
teachers.
that on the teachers, or I just don't think kids give a fuck, dude. I just don't think majority of kids, they don't want to learn. They don't want to be in school.
So
You're
is the
forcing
responsibility
them-
to get this shit figured out? Is it on the kids, or is it on the people who are supposedly smart enough to be teaching our kids? Because they seem like a bunch of duplicitous self-deceivers to me. They deceive themselves into thinking that they are necessary and that people will suffer without them. And so the ability to tax their neighbors to infinity for their income that's fine.
No, because even if you had the best teacher in the fucking country, dude, if you had a classroom full of students that didn't give a fuck and they hated school, they had shit going on at home, you don't know what else is going on in these kids' lives, and they're forced to go to school, wake up early, they're all in a pissed off mood, it doesn't matter how fucking good of a teacher you are.
Oh,
if you're not willing
but
to learn as a student,
see.
it's not gonna matter.
Then why in the world do they carry around banners about teaching every child and no child all of this bullshit? They're liars. They don't give a shit about those kids.
Which ones?
If they did, they wouldn't continue running a fucking system where they get paid to sit in the front of a classroom full of kids who don't want to fucking be there.
Well, dude, here, the thing is about teachers,
Jesus.
they genuinely want to help kids. Most of them, I truly feel that.
I really
dude.
don't think so.
Why? It's not like they make a lot of money. And they work long.
That's another gigantic fallacy.
I know,
dude.
and they work
Teachers don't get paid
fucking
enough.
hours.
Bullshit. That's a lie.
I'm not saying they don't get paid. I'm not saying they get paid little, but it's not like they're making a fuck ton of money.
Well,
either.
and you certainly,
know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, here, this is
Both
this
my
is-
parents are teachers, so I can say we did just fine. We grew up upper middle class family, Lakeville, Minnesota. Anyone's familiar? Lakeville's a nice suburban community.
Yeah.
So I'm saying my parents, they did fine. They're also smart with their money, though. You know, so that's another big issue.
Yep.
You know, you gotta be smart with your money.
See,
but they were not rich. You know, they did fine. They made solid money. I know my two parents did not get in the teaching industry for the money.
I could tell you one thing. My dad told me that when I got done with high school, he said, "Don't you even bother filling out any of that student loan shit. You go and try and get scholarships or whatever, but there's none of these loans, none of this other garbage, because you're not going to get any." And he told me why. He said, "I make too much money. They just look at my tax return, and there's numbers on there that are too big."
And say your dad has to pay for it?
It doesn't matter that, I mean, obviously we weren't rich. I mean, fucking A, we lived in a house in North Minneapolis, which is now practically a demilitarized zone because the fucking city destroyed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But this is the part that fucking irritates me, dude, is that every element of this carries contradiction. We care about the kids, but pay me more because this job is so horrible.
Yeah.
We need to be here so that everybody gets an education. we only can generate 50% proficiency.
Because only half of the kids care.
Everywhere you turn, it's a contradiction.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have to make every kid go to school. Okay, well, that's working for you.
Yeah. I think one thing off the top of my head that would help increase the rate that's 50%. What'd you say that's a failure rate?
No, it's just proficiency in math and reading in 8th grade.
I think one thing that would help increase that rate is having smaller classrooms.
No.
I think that would.
No.
What's like the average size of a classroom? It's got to be at least 20 kids plus in most schools.
No, the average class size drive was successful in a lot of places. Didn't do a damn thing.
Okay.
They made the number change by pissing away a lot of money on people just to get them into seats. It didn't do anything.
Because then you're paying way more teachers too on top of all that.
Oh yeah. Oh well, and then you got the problem kids, and they have to have a special helper in the. It's a fucking dude. This shit is so crazy. It's like public schooling was generated originally as a standard template for the minimum requirement to function with other adults. Reading and writing. It's like reading, writing, and basic math. If you can do those things, you can communicate with just about anyone about just about anything.
Yeah.
But we don't do that. No, what we do is we pump them full of bullshit. All the while, they can't read, they can't write, they can't do any math, but they're sure learning about the racist history of America.
Yeah, and names
that's
and
what
dates
these
of
schools,
people.
and that's the really hideous part. Is that's what these schools have turned into? They've turned into factories for generating incompetent, incapable people who believe all the right stupid shit.
That believe the narrative that the school wants to feed them.
Who will vote for the intensification of their own suffering because they can't think past the false promise that the next Democrat's fucking barking at them. Well, but you know what? They absolutely know that cutting taxes will kill people. They're dumb as a box of fucking rocks, but they think tax cuts kill people.
I know, like...
It's just... How is that even possible?
Well, I hated fucking social studies. I remember I was taking the social studies class when I was in elementary school still, when they're teaching us like the history of America and all these names and dates of people. I don't remember a goddamn thing from any of that.
No, because you're not learning anything.
Well, how much shit can you cram into these kids' head? If you're a kid in elementary school, I remember when I was growing up, yeah, we had our English class. Like, I think we had a reading and a writing. I can't remember if they were combined into one or they're each separate. They may have been combined. Doesn't matter. But then we had a math, and then you had a science, and, you had a history. I think we had like 5 or 6 different class courses they're trying to cram into your head as a kid, which fucking, dude, I was just thinking about going home and playing with dinosaurs and video games.
It's asinine.
I couldn't do any of that. I think what you said, if they just stick to teaching kids reading and writing and math.
Look, dude.
Up until like a certain grade, Yeah,
basically 2nd grade level. And then no more required school after that. If you can add, subtract, multiply, and divide, like, just whatever numbers you need to fucking deal with, and you can read a novel and write anything about it on a sheet of paper, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Here's your dictionary in case you come across a word you don't know. Good luck.
Yeah.
You're 8 years old now. Go get a fucking job.
On to the real world now.
It really is. All of it is, it's just insane.
Man, 8 years old being done with school.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of people that are going to hear that and be like, this dude's a fucking idiot.
That's fine. I mean, my brother became a delinquent in like 2nd grade. He was not having it anymore. You know what the most important thing he did for his adult life that he did while he was a kid?
What?
Tear apart motors and little engines and build go-karts and mini bikes and shit.
Okay.
Because he taught himself a ton just by screwing around in a garage and taking shit apart.
Yeah. I think that's the best way of learning, just doing things that teach yourself.
Well,
like, school is good. Like, I'm not going to bash going to school because I'm grateful for just able to even have an education, having the opportunity to go, because I know not everyone goes there. But I've found that I learned the best just tinkering and toying with this shit myself. It is nice to have someone to go to when you hit that wall, when you don't know where else to go. It's nice having that advice, like a professor that you can ask for. But dude, other than that, I think the best way to really develop some critical thinking is just sitting down and trying to figure shit out on your damn self.
Absolutely. Now, here's the other thing. Why do these kids need to be in a classroom at 5 years old? When everybody has observed a room of 5-year-olds, most of them do not belong in any kind of an attempt at organizing a bunch of 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
There's maybe, if you get a room of 30 of them, there's maybe 5 that can actually handle instructions and not spazzing out every 15 minutes.
That's way too young.
So the finishing of 2nd grade with this base level functionality as a human being who needs to communicate with other human beings, maybe you don't get done until you're 10 or 11.
That reminds me of something.
You don't start until you're what? 7 or 8?
Yeah.
Stop sending hyper little spaz blobs into these fucking schools.
And all they're doing is they're ruining the other kids' education. It's
absolutely.
But what do you think about this idea? Didn't they used to have a lot more like recess and playtime for kids that age?
Oh, but they can't get hurt. Oh, but then they can't get bullied. Oh, but the athletic kids will make the fat dumb kids feel bad. It's like,
no, I think we need to go back to that.
So
what about
bad.
you? What when you were a kid growing up?
Excuse me.
Did they have a bunch of recess time? Because I remember talking to some of my peers, that older, and they said, when they were a kid going to school, they'd have like 2-3 hours of fucking recess of just playtime.
Oh, well, that was a public school, right?
Yeah, I want to say so.
Yeah, there's
correctly.
another good example of people doing really hard work for your kids.
Yeah.
No, when I was at the little Catholic elementary school.
Oh, well, Catholic school, they didn't fuck around at those.
K through 8. Everything was it was just a straightforward thing. It's like you had your sets of lessons each day, and then I think probably 3 days a week you had gym class. There was one day during the week where you had music class. You had lunch at the same time, and it was half hour of recess after lunch every day. That was it. It's just, these are the things you do, and we do them. Mm-hmm. This whole freaking political campaign to stop bullying, or we can't have recess, or, gym class is making this. Fuck off. Once you get done with school and you got to go out into the world and actually accomplish something, none of that shit works.
Yeah, well, and not only that, but the bullies aren't going to go away. So trying to protect people from the bullies in school, how are you going to protect them when they get out of it? The bullies are actually even fucking worse when you get out of school. Those are the real fucking bullies.
Let's take it a step further. How can bullies be the ones who actually solve the problem of bullies?
How can bullies be the ones who solve the problems of bullies?
Yeah.
How? I don't know, Phil. How?
Well, they can't. See, that's the whole point.
Okay.
And the people working in these fucking public structures are the biggest bullies. So, I'm sorry, public school teachers coming across with their freaking anti-bullying message. It's like you are basically single-handedly responsible for the nature of me not owning the house I have to pay real estate taxes on every year. You piece of shit.
All right.
And then the other contradiction about that, the only people who stand to lose by dissolving all of this public structuring of education are the shitty ones. These shitbag bureaucrats who occupy these stupid superintendent positions and shit, well, they go right out the window. Because when you just run a school to teach kids, you don't need those fuckers. It's when you need to start implementing political agendas and shit that you need all of this army of do-nothing bureaucrats forcing shit down everybody's throat. Mm-hmm. When you got a teacher in a classroom who just wants to teach kids, and then bureaucrat asshole barges through the door and says, well, you gotta, oh God, I could come up with some really, really bad examples.
I want to hear it.
Well, I don't know. Why don't we, teach kids about how many mommies and daddies everybody has and all that shit?
Oh.
It's like, yeah, you know what? Catholic Church was really hideous for hiding their they're lecherous fucks, but at least they weren't bringing kids into the church and saying, it's great to be touched.
Yeah.
That's what the fucking public schools do now. It's like, oh, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina, and it's the sooner you can get them mashed together, the better. And that's all they give. That's all they care about. And then do you think that the public funding of the abortion mills is some kind of an accident? No, let's get a bunch of fucking kids. Half of them can't read, write, or do math. Sexualize them, rush them into every freaking possible thing you could get them into, and then be there with your freaking publicly funded abortion mill to take care of the fucking inevitable problems that you created. It's almost like they plan it that way.
Almost like that. When did you have sex ed as a kid? Do you remember? Was that even a thing for you? Or
6th, 7th grade?
Yeah, I think that was around the same time I had it too.
The girls went into one room with a nun. The boys were in another room with a priest.
Okay. So that was the same thing with mine at the public school.
Well, and the other thing is,
I didn't have a private Catholic school.
I'm pretty sure that virtually all of us. I mean, because you go to a Catholic school, most of the kids there are the children of Catholic families.
Yeah,
all from the same neighborhood. I'm pretty sure that all parents that have their heads on straight at all, they give their kids the initial birds and bees pretty early.
Mm-hmm. See, my parents didn't really give me that talk. They did a little bit. Like, oh my God, it's tough to fucking remember back then.
I think I was about 8.
Done too many drugs.
I think I was about 8 years old. And generally, I think that, parents just have to recognize when does this particular child actually start behaving as if boys and girls are different. Yeah. And that's when you tell them.
That's a good way to look at it. Every child is going to need, the talk. As I say, probably at a different time in their life. Honestly, I probably didn't need the talk till I was like a fucking sophomore in high school. Because that's the only time I think I didn't really I didn't really start even like talking to girls until I was in high school. Not on like a romantic or like relationship level, at least. I would only talk to them if they were like, if I was in their group project or some shit.
Hey, I'm 40. I'm going to be 43, and I still haven't started.
You still haven't had the talk.
No, I had the talk because I was a really good student, so everybody thought I was really smart.
Yeah,
so I'm sure.
So you were a fucking loser back then. Basically, is what you're saying.
I'm sure my mom thought that I was mature beyond my years.
I always get a kick out of that.
Well, she gave me the talk pretty early.
I always get a kick out the smart kids, always the losers.
Oh, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's another thing.
What's that?
Well, these school structures, they do everything in their power to just kill the spirit of talented kids.
They do.
They're so
disgusting. Infatuated with sports. Like any kid that's really good at a sport gets put up on the pedestal.
Yeah, well, it makes sense because the entire approach is fucking infantile. It's we and society and taxes and we can pool the money and that'll make it so much better. And meanwhile, everybody who's involved takes no responsibility and basically just sloughs everything off. Yeah. It's so pathetic, dude. I mean, when I went to Mathnasium, when I was working at Mathnasium, and you're dealing with these kids.
That's funny that you've worked there. I've driven by a lot of those buildings.
It's absolutely incredible. I mean, every kid that you encounter, unless they just go to like work on extra math because they just love doing it. We had a handful of those kids. But for the most part, the kids coming in there, they are there due to the failure of whatever school they go to.
Or the failure of themselves, you know what I mean? Like, how much blame are you going to put on the schools? And how much blame are you going to put on the kid for not actually trying?
I put it 1,000,000% on the schools.
Do you?
Because a 7-year-old kid who's having trouble learning fractions doesn't bear the responsibility. If it's that difficult, then either the school's doing a shitty job or they shouldn't be at school.
Okay.
It's one or the other. This whole... I'm so tired I'm so tired of we have to maintain, we just have to continue to accept these manipulated environments that don't work just because. Tens of millions of school children being processed through these, basically prison centers. And we're expecting them to come out and be these talented superstars who are going to deliver the future. And these kids that are coming out of these schools now, they're the least capable freaking people, I think, that have ever been put through an organized system.
I don't even know why most kids go to school. Well, I know when I was going to college last year, and the one year that I did over at Normandale Community College, I would be sitting behind kids and they'd be playing Fortnite or video games, like on their laptops. And this is in college. And when I was thinking about it, I'm like, why are you even here? Like, just stay home and play video games, dude. Like, what,
Dude, when I was in high school,
why are you fucking here? Like,
when I was in high school, I would get done with school, get on the bus, go home. This is for, first 3 years. I had my own car my senior year. I would get done and I would go home and I would have shit I would have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And my friends from, 8th grade, because they got done with 8th grade. They weren't going to private school anymore.
Yeah.
Like, fuck this. We're going to go screw around in public school. I shit you not. 4 years, not a single day did they ever have to do anything when they got home.
Yes, my parents.
4 years. Patrick Henry High School, North Minneapolis. I had at least half a dozen kids from my 8th grade class that went to Henry. They never had to do anything outside of school.
And that's on their parents, you think?
No, that's the way the school functions.
Oh, they just never had any homework.
They force all of the kids that they get paid to not do anything for into a room, and they don't do anything.
Yeah. See,
and we wonder why there are so many stupid fucking kids all over the place. It's because they don't learn anything at school. Hello?
See, my parents were on my fucking ass about doing homework and all that shit, and I hated it growing up. Probably should be thankful for it now, because it actually made me disciplined to actually do shit. You know what I mean?
My distaste for homework was overcome by my worry about poor performance.
See, I didn't care about any of that stuff.
Most kids don't.
Yeah.
But I was a weird kid. I was worried about doing well enough in school to get into college when I was like 6 years old.
I was a weird kid too. We were just weird in different ways. You were weird to the point where you gave yourself some extreme anxiety, it sounds like, at a very young age. Like, you had that mental illness at a very young age of just having this real bad anxiety and beating yourself up.
Well, it's not a mental illness.
Anxiety? I'd say so. When at the level that you were headed at, dude.
Now, looking to the future for inevitable confrontations and being prepared, that's not anxiety.
You're trying to solve a problem is unsolvable. You're building scenarios in your head for the future.
Dude, how was that? No, the whole scenario I'm talking about, like worrying about getting into college, worked itself out perfectly. What are you talking about?
Right, but
I worried about it. That was motivation to do well on my schoolwork so that I could represent myself as a good student and get into college, which I then did.
But you still created that scenario in your mind. In the future, you weren't guaranteed to get in there at the time. You didn't know if you were going to get in there.
Hence the worry.
Yes, and hence the anxiety.
No. Mental anxiety is a mental illness.
Yes.
Is like, what is everybody around me going to think? It doesn't fucking matter what other people think.
No, I think anxiety can go deeper than that.
Thinking about something that you are going to do in the future and being prepared is not a mental illness. I think lack of that is a mental illness, and that is actually what is being displayed.
Okay. No, I see what you're saying, dude. But you are just said at the point that you were 6 years old and you were too busy worrying about school and if you're going to get into it or not. Well, you gave yourself anxiety. So to the level that you were doing it at, dude, you had a degree of mental illness with anxiety. What if you're getting it to that level? And that's what it sounds like to me, at least. I didn't put myself on that pressure because I think you're doing it to yourself. It was all self-inflicted.
I just... there's no way you're ever going to get me to accept the mental illness label on that.
Okay, you don't have to.
No, I think that for the most part, the the armies of psychologists and psychiatrists have made up a lot of really bad stories, and people swallowed them whole.
Like, what do you mean?
Oh, like
what does it have to do to relate to this?
Oh, are you lonely or anxious? Well, take this pill that actually makes you feel more like that, so we can prescribe another pill to help counteract that.
Yeah, well,
they're a bunch of scam artists.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not talking about going to psychologists or doing drugs or anything for your fucking anxiety. I was just saying anxiety is one of those things that's self-inflicted that we do to ourselves most of the time. We give ourselves those anxiety feelings.
Yeah,
we get so worried about the future. We create these weird scenarios. We create these problems in our head.
To a degree, it's a character flaw. This whole concept of mental illness is stupid.
What do you want to call it then?
Just poor choices. I don't know,
dude. You gotta call it. Nah.
I'm really tired of the.
You can call it character flaw if you want. That's a good way to put it.
I'm tired of being presented with this methodology that is supposedly scientific when it's really just a bunch of kooks cooking up drugs and forcing them down people's throats. This epic, or the saga of pharmaceuticals to solve people's like problems with insecurities and fears and shit. It's like,
no.
It is. It's the raising of zombie nation.
Oh no, I'm with you on that. I think if you're someone who does suffer from really bad anxiety or insecurities and fear, whatever it is, the last thing that you should do is start taking drugs to block those things away.
Oh, but it's a chemical imbalance. Yeah. We're just gonna balance the chemicals. It's just a balance.
That's all you got to do. No, I think you got to face all those things on your own. Like, your mind you just got to use your mind as a fucking tool. You know, you're creating all this shit in your head. Pick your mind up every now and then, use it as a tool. When you're done, set the fucker back down. That's the way I try to look at it. It's not as easy as said.
I never set it down. Mine's it's like a flashlight, and I'm out in the woods, and Bigfoot's coming for me. He could be anywhere, so it's always on, and I'm always looking.
Right,
never stop. The one thing that I do that does help me separate from the constant like processing or whatever is playing video games.
That helps you kind of shut your brain off a little bit.
And even then. Like, we'll be in Discord and somebody will say something and it'll everything starts turning and bubbling, and I'm just like, oh, this was actually something I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
Over the past couple of episodes, and I never have.
All right, what's up?
But more and more, when I interact with other people, I feel like I need to, like I have to be somebody else.
Like not yourself, or
yeah. I mean,
now,
most of the time,
do you feel that way, as in like you feel like you don't fit in, or you just want them to like you? Oh.
No, it's that I can't really engage with everybody the way I would like to, because I just know they're not going to like it.
No, well, you don't know that till you try.
Oh, I proved it pretty well.
Think so?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that like the initial Discords when we started playing World of Warcraft.
Well, I think you just come off.
I blew them up because nobody actually they wanted to start a confrontation because they thought they had the juice to like lay me down and stand over me in victory. And they're just they have no ammo at all.
Yeah.
And I just stand there like a monolith, just telling them the truth about things, and it irritates people.
Right.
And they're completely unwilling to rethink anything they got stuck in their frickin' head. So then it just ends up being them, trying to take a brick wall down with a tennis ball. They just keep bouncing it off the wall and nothing happens, and they get frustrated.
I don't think that's also a problem on you. I think just in general, people need to do a better job at looking things from someone else's perspective. We actually were just talking about this not too long ago. And say you're on Discord, Don, you just met me. You don't even know me. We're talking online. We get in an argument, a confrontation about something. And if I fail to be like, to look at things in your point of view, like if you really want to get a true understanding of the other side of the argument, whatever the confrontation may be, you need to take a step back. Be like, all right, you know what? I'm going to I'm going to hear this guy out. I'm going to see where he's coming from. I'm going to let my wall down. I'm going to let myself be transparent, let myself be vulnerable. And even if though I don't agree with him, I'm going to try to like slip into his mind so I can actually get an understanding of how he feels. And then once you're able to do all that, if you're able to do all that even, and you still disagree with him, it would be easier for you to just communicate things about it instead of like opposing to just like throwing all your ideas at him one after another. No, I've learned a lot of people are really fucking stubborn too, dude. Majority of people are stubborn. They don't, once they get their mind set on something, they don't like changing it. They don't want to admit that they're wrong for whatever reason.
No, that's the thing that blows me away is that I dedicated myself to going through that. The number of things that I completely like, I picked them up, flipped them over, tossed them all around, and like I built things up intellectually from nothing after discarding all of the bullshit that I had been fed.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I have a very coherent, solid structure.
Well, I think what also makes it tough for you, you have a lot of ideas and beliefs and things that are not in the majority. And when you're confrontating against someone else who believes in the majority, let's just use flat Earth versus globe Earth as an example, because that's an easy one to do. You know, you're not, for someone to get in that argument with someone who thinks that the Earth is flat, they have such an overwhelming majority on their side.
Yeah, that they feel like they don't actually have to think.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody did the thinking already, and you're wrong.
They think that everyone already did the studies for them. They did the things like, they're like, dude, thousands and thousands and thousands of people have already looked at this. Like, you're wrong. Yeah. Like, look it up. Google it. That's what they say. Google. Now, that's just an example. That's like a pretty broad one. But when you're getting in those confrontations with someone and they're on the majority, it's going to be fucking tough to get them to switch. Or not even switch it, but to see things from your perspective. Because they want to stay with the herd, dude. The sheep want to stay with the herd.
Yeah, well, for me, it's easy. I mean, if they come to the table with this concept of perception making a difference to truth, that's fine. I mean, it doesn't make any difference. If you look at a statement that is self-evidently true, it doesn't matter where you look at it from. It's still true.
And I think that one thing I was going to say, you could also be better. We could all be a little bit better at just looking at things from someone else's perspective.
No, I know.
You know what I mean? But you've gotten a lot better since you've been coming on these podcasts from day one. See, one thing about you at least hear someone out. That's what I respect about you. Even though if you think they're full of shit and they're wrong, demon worship, whatever, you would still hear them out on how they feel about it. Like,
I'm still waiting for somebody to present, like, tell me why the minimum wage will do something positive. Show me how it's a benefit. Show me how it actually reconciles with individual freedom or whatever. I will keep asking. I will let anybody who supports raising the minimum wage explain to me why they think that's a good idea. It's just they never have any ideas. Yeah. They think they do. They think they have an understanding of what the results of a legislative event or procedure or whatever is going to be, but they obviously don't, because they can't even explain the reasoning behind the motivation to attempt it in the first place. Mm-hmm. See, that's the whole point. Like, when you engage in a scientific endeavor, you have to have a hypothesis first. And if the hypothesis doesn't even make any sense, you don't bother doing the experiment.
Right.
It's like, okay, if I concentrate hard enough, I can make a purple unicorn appear with a platter full of Twinkies.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Or you can take some acid.
You can put that string of words together and say it over and over again. You can close your eyes and squint really tight and shake your fists. A purple unicorn with a platter full of Twinkies is never going to appear. Mm-mm. And that's the kind of shit that a lot of people got floating around in their head. It's like, well, people need more money. Well, do you even know what money is? No, but minimum wage higher. Good. And they sound like freaking caveman to me.
Yeah.
Captain Caveman. man.
Give me more money.
You know, they need more money. If everybody have more money, they get more stuff, and then they're more happy.
Yeah.
Because I'm not.
That's why Andrew Yang wants to give everyone $1,500 a month?
1,000 a month.
1,000 a month.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Make it $1 million a month.
Yeah.
Just make it $1 million a month, and then you know what it would be like?
Oh.
It would be like going from WoW Classic to WoW Retail.
There you go.
With the gold balances on the auction house. Like you go into Classic and you have things that are 1,000 gold. You go into retail, things are millions of gold.
Could the government give everyone $1 million if they wanted to?
Sure, they could.
They just punch numbers in the computer, call it good.
What they could do is they could carry out a mass electronic counterfeiting and just tell the banks, credit every account holder's balance $1 million, send us the total, we'll counterfeit it, we'll sell bonds or do whatever with the Federal Reserve, completely destroy the value of the money. The prices will all probably multiply more than you just multiplied the money supply.
Yeah.
And
they'll probably end up getting it all back.
And then everybody can start burning dollars for heating fuel.
How many people do you think would just waste that $1 million in like the first month, dude? You know?
Oh, dude.
How fast some of that people would be
Don't
gone.
You remember
like,
one of those racist history things? One of their main...
we should go back to watching those. One
of their main points in one of those videos was the racial, the in-group...
Was it the tipping one?
The in-group holding of $1 by race. So, like, when a black person
holds
gets
a dollar, it's worth less than a white person holding it. Is that what you're saying?
No, the average amount of time $1 spends in a black person's hand when they receive it is like 1/12 of what it is for white people, and it's even a smaller fraction of what it is for Asian people, because Asians
hold on to their money.
For whatever reason, their networking circulates money within their race better than any other race.
I wish I was part Asian.
White people are right there, but for
I blow my money.
Whatever reason, black individuals do not have a lot of enterprises that pass. They don't complete like cycles of transactions with each other. And like, here's a perfect example. All the black professional athletes and black artists, like rappers and singers and whatever. How many of them do you think buy their mansions from black realtors? How many of them think? How many of them do you think buy their supercars from black dealership owners?
I'm not sure. There's probably
many of them?
Decent amount.
There's one thing I know that they do. Their styling and stuff. They go to black people for their hair and their
like shoes and clothes and shit.
Yeah, but
jewelry.
Oh yeah. But are those people making the kind of money that the people selling the mansions and the supercars are? So that dollar gets, into the hands of those merchants and it's fucking gone because they're spending it on consumable shit. And all of the biggest outlets for consumable items are owned by white people.
Yeah.
So you get to the end and you realize you're trying to keep dollars inside races through cycles of transactions is pointless. You're not measuring anything with that.
No, you're not.
And you're certainly not establishing evidence for some kind of a concept of people being racist.
Yeah.
All you've done is show some kind of a statistical relationship between two groups of people separated by a superficial characteristic like skin color. And for some reason, black people just let go of their money easier. I don't know why. They just do. Mm-hmm. Should we enact rules to punish them or elevate them based on that? No.
Yeah, it's all arbitrary.
I don't care if the black community only hangs on to their dollars for 6 hours.
Yeah.
What difference is what?
That's
what
probably about how long I hold on to my dollars. Yeah, I mean, to be honest,
what could possibly be accomplished by looking at that statistic and then trying to force it to be something else? All you're doing is intervening. You're just creating more problems.
You're creating like a database and like stats and information, evidence. That's what you're doing. You're creating evidence. So when you write some bullshit article, like saying craft beer is racist, for example, you have a study that can back all your bullshit up. That's what it's for.
And that's why most of social science isn't science, because basically all they're doing, they're just looking to count dots and put them in an arrangement to back up a stupid article as bullshit anyway.
Right.
It's just people trying to come up with excuses for their political exercise. It's
fucking hideous, dude.
It's never going to end. We're condemned to do this over and over again.
It's sad.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you got, buddy? A little over an hour here.
Actually, maybe for next time, if you want to do anything else about the Democrats and the nomination, and
we we were gonna talk about impeachment and Democrats and shit, but then we got going into schools and racist shit.
We
get sidetracked.
Go out and find a little bit of info about Bloomberg and his black story.
Oh wait, is it a black guy?
No, Michael Bloomberg
is a white guy.
He's just a super rich asshole who was the mayor in New York and took credit for. He didn't really do anything. He just takes credit for shit.
I've heard that name before.
He's come out and said.
You just look. That was hot, dude. So I'm gonna make a thumbnail out of that.
Somehow the coffee dripped out through the cap.
You fucking addict.
But anyway,
gotta get every last drop.
He came out and he made some kind of a stupid statement like, if I had been black, my story would be a lot different.
Yeah, that's probably about the dumbest thing you could have said.
That is an extremely stupid thing to say.
Yeah,
and so he's just and this is all amidst his apology for the stop and frisk policy that basically demolished the crime rates in New York City. Worst year was they had like 2,600 murders or something in New York City in 1 year.
Jesus Christ.
And now I think the last year they have compiled, it was 300.
Okay.
So it's almost down to 10% of what it was at its worst.
Well, that's a positive.
It was, Giuliani, I think, is the one who introduced the stop and frisk. Bloomberg carried it on, dragged the murder rate even lower. But people, to this day, it absolutely blows me away. We can't be racist. Don't judge people based on their race. High murder rate, new policy. Places where people get killed, cops are going to fucking grab people and search them for guns and drugs and shit. Oh, well, that only happens in the poor colored neighborhoods, because it's always, it's always blacks and Hispanics or whatever, right? Oh, and we're being so persecuted. As if there's probably no white people within 10,000 miles that ever got stopped and frisked, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the areas where the crime was happening were composed of a particular statistical distribution of races, right? Those are the places they had to institute the policy to make the crime stop, but then carrying it out is racist. Do you want to be protected, or do you want to just let everybody let you kill each other?
Yeah.
What do you want? You can't just say, that's racist. Oh, and then somebody else does that. Well, that's racist.
Yeah.
Everything can't be racist. It's so stupid.
Yeah. It's again abuse to the point, dude.
And
it's fucking
now,
bad.
somebody can probably take that clip
and make
just
you
say,
a racist.
Oh my God, look at that guy. He's got really short hair and he's pale and white and he's yelling about, blacks and Hispanics. He must be a white supremacist.
Yeah,
it's like, Jesus Christ. And that's the way these people think. It's not actually,
you know what?
Don't actually look at what's transpiring or what kind of evidence there is for one action or another. It's, what do you feel? And are you, basically, can you exceed the intellectual bar required to see through liars feeding you bullshit to keep you in line?
You know what we'll do once we have more people once we get more people watching the live stream, we'll take a poll. Is Phil a racist? Yes or no?
Call me a racist all you want. Yeah. To me, that's just a stupid frickin' word. The smart thing to do would be to actually go out. You go find out what is racism.
Mm-hmm.
Fundamentally, what is it?
There you go.
See if you can even find the word.
That's it.
And you probably can't, because people who try to come after me about stupid, elementary shit like that. They never have anything to stand
They say you
on.
get stuck in semantics.
Oh, no, it's a semantic. Yeah. Never mind the fact that you speak 3 sentences and the same word means a different thing in every sentence.
There it is, everyone.
I'm the semantic one.
Professor Phil, ladies and gentlemen.
Philly.
I didn't
out.
choose the Doug Life. The Doug Life chose